Hi there guys, and welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse. The Cryptoverse is your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. My name's Chris Coney, and I'm the host of Cryptoverse and the founder of Cryptoversity.com, which is the online school where you set the price to learn about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. And of course, you can find out more by going to Cryptoversity.com. And at Cryptoversity.com, there is a podcast page where you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Store, YouTube, or Steam It. And to support the Cryptoverse financially, you can vote for this episode on the Steam It network or send us a Bitcoin tip using the address on screen now or on the bottom of the podcast page if you are listening to this particular episode. Righto, let's get into the markets today. Let's see what we've got in the markets. We are looking at the markets courtesy of coinmarketcap.com. This is one of my favorite resources, and it's great for people who are price obsessed. There are many people in the crypto space that say the prices of the coins don't matter, and that is true to a certain extent when it comes to the actual functionality and the value that the various cryptocurrencies provide. However, what price does do, in my opinion, is shows perception, and it helps us see supply and demand from between cryptocurrency world and fiat currency world. Of course, people like me who are migrating one step at a time out of fiat into crypto and don't plan on going back, that would be volume in one direction. But some people do trade out of it because there are certain merchants that don't yet accept crypto, but that's changing rapidly, as you'll see later today. I may even I saw on Steam this morning that someone has set up a payment gateway to take Steam-backed dollars. I've only seen the headline, I've not looked into it yet, but that kind of thing is the rate at which adoption of cryptocurrencies is exploding. So let's take a look at prices today. Bitcoin's not doing much. I'm only going to mention the big movers or shakers. Litecoin has somehow gained 4.5% today, putting Litecoin as the fourth most capitalized coin, one above Steam, which has shaved 9% today, putting it down at $1.25. And Steam has been on a downtrend looking at this from its highs. It went mental when it first started paying out, and then it's sort of slowly trailed off, which is curious. Unless that's people cashing out all of their Steam that they earned, I don't know. That would put a downward selling pressure on it, wouldn't it? Let's look at a quick look at the two Ethereums. Ethereum Core is down 0.8%, making an Ethereum token worth $11.12. By contrast, Ethereum Classic, which is out in sixth position, is worth $1.61. And Ethereum Classic has lost 6.36% in the last 24 hours. In terms of trading volume, they're roughly on par. Ethereum Classic, there's been like $5.8 million worth of trading volume in the last 24 hours, and then Ethereum Core 6.7. So they're only $1 million difference, which is interesting given their relative and respective market caps. Now the big story today, as you can see here if you're watching the video, is in eighth position is Monero. Now I've talked about Monero a couple of times recently, having it been jumping up the rankings here, and today it's in eighth position, making a Monero worth $4.36 and $22 million worth of trading volume. So a lot of buyers have come in, and we know that because the price has jumped 46% in the last 24 hours, and it jumped quite a bit yesterday as well. And if we look at the CoinMarketCap, the simple line graph for this, let's show it for the last month. Yes, there we go. Let me just wait for it to load real quick. The last month isn't even enough. It might need to be the last 7 days. Yeah, and also the volume is just exploded. So it started to move yesterday when I mentioned it on the Cryptoverse. So it was down at, what was it? Well, it gives the price in Bitcoin here, which is strange because on the homepage it gives it in dollars. Let's do it by market cap. So on the 22nd of August, $800,000 worth of Monero was traded, making the Monero blockchain worth $32 million. And then it went ballistic, and yesterday, at 10:20 p.m., it reached a total market cap of 66 million, and now it's sitting at whatever it is, 55 million. So it went mentally high, and then some people have cashed out, but still, on the day, in a 24-hour period, it's still up 46%. And I've chosen an article today about Monero, which may help us see some of the pressures that are pushing the price up. Yesterday I said I didn't know what it was, but now I found an article that might help us explain it. Who else is cracking today? Factum, 16% gain today. Anybody else? NXT down 8.9%. Peer Plays up 9%, pushing up to 17th place in overall market cap. Remember, Peer Plays has a fixed supply of 1 million coins. So you just multiply the number of tokens by the price, which is now $16.90. That is mental, considering the crowdfund was for $2 or $3. Now here's some big losers. Here's Scenario's back. Scenario disappeared yesterday, but it's now 22nd position, and it's gained 11% today. So they are moving towards their alpha. That makes Scenario only worth $9 million as a blockchain, but which is really strange given the real world problem that solves. But I guess the difference between that and Steam is that Steam has actually launched and people have seen it working. All right, that'll do for the market roundup for today. And let's just take a look at the Bitcoin price chart. Yeah, pretty similar. Nothing else to say today. We've got this little wave going on, a little bit up, a little bit down, a little phase 1, phase 2, but it's consolidating overall. Same range I've been talking about, $600 at the top and, well, $550 at the bottom, I'm going to call it. So what's that? That's a $50 range for the price. And I don't know if my moving averages are correct, but because I changed my computer, if you remember. So I don't know if I've reset my my moving averages to be the same as they were before. If I just look at my parameters here. Parameters, yes, they've changed. So my exponential moving averages, I set them on 50 and 200. Because I want to see 50 days worth of data and then 200 days worth of data. Right, so that's made a significant difference to the way I read this. So the orange line on my chart is a 200-day moving average, and that is still going up because it's based on more than 6 months worth of data. And then I've got my faster moving average, which is based on just under 2 months worth of data, and that right now is trending down. It's been trending down since the Bitfinex fiasco 3 weeks ago. So for the last 3 weeks, that moving average has been going down. So, but now the price has flattened out, so the moving averages should flatten out as well. Righto, that's all for the first half, so stay tuned for the second half, where a whole lot more is coming your way. Hi there guys, and welcome back to the Cryptoverse with me, Chris Coney. Now it's time to turn to the news, courtesy of Bitcoin.com. Today's article again is accredited to Jamie Redman. He published this article yesterday, August the 22nd. And the article reads, Leading Darknet Markets to Support Monero. So let's see what this article's got to say for itself. As always, I don't read these articles ahead of time. I just pick the headlines out because I want to give you my genuine reaction and response the first time I read about it. So the privacy-centric cryptocurrency, Monero, and its symbol is XMR, according to this. So Monero has been making waves in the community as of late. Most recently, it has been revealed that the digital currency will be used by leading darknet markets. Okay, so I'm not sure who the leading darknet markets are myself, and you might wonder, well, why Monero? Well, because Monero, in my mind, the thing that sticks out to me about Monero, the thing it focuses on, is privacy. So it's no surprise that Monero would be the tool of choice. So Oasis and Alphabay will implement Monero. I guess that's answered the question then. I guess those are two dark markets that will be adopting it. So according to a recent Reddit post on the Darknet Markets forum, DNM, Darknet Markets, Monero will be used by the Alphabay and Oasis marketplaces. rumors suggest that more markets will add Monero in the near future as well. Yes, so what happened when the Silk Road got taken down was that it just gave birth to like 20 others. So, like I always say, philosophically, people will not go without. So if there's a product that they want, shutting down the marketplace is not going to stop them. It just makes it more difficult. So pushing against is like the whatever you resist persists and force negates. They're the two sort of principles that, the war on drugs, the war on poverty, the war on terror, they all have those fundamental mistakes in common, is they are pushing against the problem. And if for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, the harder you push, the harder it pushes back. And that's a fundamental law of physics. So how that applies to dark markets is to do that. People want to buy certain things that a government has deemed to be illegal. But that's impinging on people's free will, which is another principle that they violate. Anyway, of course, due to the news, Monero has climbed to the 8th position on CoinMarketCap. And its price has reached a high of $5.20 at press time. Well, at press time that might have been the case, but right now it's $4.36. So we just took a look at that in the first half. I saw a peak yesterday around 10 p.m., which probably would have been about $5, but now it's retreated back to $4.36. So that's still pretty high though, So launched in April of 2014. See, that's not all that long ago, is it? That's only, 2.5 years ago. So launched just 2.5 years ago, Monero has a goal of facilitating completely anonymous transactions. The privacy-centric token is not a clone of Bitcoin, unlike its competitor Dash, and it uses the CryptoNote protocol to create blockchain obfuscation. Monero's CryptoNote claims to provide superior anonymity over tumbling methods such as used by Bitcoin and Dash. Right. Well, this is interesting. Now, I was going to say that. Why didn't the dark markets adopt Dash, which is a much more established currency? But it's a good point. Dash was originally based on the Bitcoin code, and it uses a tumbling method to anonymize transactions. And that's where you get, say, 10 people want to send a single Bitcoin to someone else, 10 other individuals. So you've got two pairs, one buyer, one seller, and then you've got 10 of those. So you've got 10 people sending a Bitcoin, 10 people receiving a Bitcoin. But what you do is all those 10 people who are sending the money, send them to an address, like a tumbler, like a lottery, and they all get mixed up. And then those 10 Bitcoins get randomly paid out to the 10 recipients. Now, the thing about that is that the recipient may not end up with the same Bitcoin that the other person sent them. You know what I mean? It might not have been from that person. It might have been person number one sending wants to send to person number two receiving. But the receiver might have got it from a complete stranger, which they don't really care about as long as they receive one single Bitcoin for the goods or services, right? And the benefit of tumbling like that, mixing up all of the sources and all of the destinations, if there was any illicit activity in there, you couldn't rightfully say that someone had bought, say, some illegal goods from the merchant because you can't actually prove that they paid them that money. It would have been any one of those 10 people. You know what I mean? And you can't just incarcerate all 10 of them because 9 of them are completely innocent. And then it says here that Monero's code has been applauded by a certain Bitcoin developer known as Vladimir J. Van der Laan. And known cryptographers within the community have also applauded it. Well, that's good news. Many people believe that cryptocurrencies like Monero and Dash are better tokens to use on the darknet in comparison to Bitcoin. Recently, companies like Blockseer, Chainalysis, and Elliptic have produced software that can trace and monitor Bitcoin transactions. These tracking services have made it more apparent that those who wish to remain anonymous with Bitcoin may be targeted by law enforcement if used for illicit activities. Yes, so the way you know that I have one Bitcoin in my wallet is because someone sent that to me at some point, and they the reason you know that they had 1 Bitcoin to send to me is because at some point in the past, someone sent that 1 Bitcoin to them. And then the chain goes on. How did they get it? Someone sent it to them, and someone sent it to them, and you go all the way back to the Big Bang, which was the original first ever Bitcoin block that was mined. So that's how you, what do they call it? The fungibility. A Bitcoin should be the same, but that's actually the opposite. Someone got pinched by law enforcement because a Bitcoin they handled was previously involved in some sort of illicit transaction, like several steps before they got hold of it, or something like that. Which is balmy. That's just like saying if you handle a US dollar that was once used in a cocaine transaction, then you should bear some responsibility for handling that money. What? But that's basically what happened. So it discourages people from using Bitcoin for darknet stuff, because they may be implicated in that chain of ownership of that particular Bitcoin. But fungibility is that all currency units should be treated equal. 1 gram of gold dug out of the ground in Australia should be worth the same as 1 gram of gold or 1 ounce of gold dug out of the ground in Canada, right? So that's that's the kind of fungibility that we're going for with Monero. So with darknet markets showing love for Monero, it may continue to push the cryptocurrency even higher. However, its competitor Dash has seen a significant rise in price over the last 3 weeks, reaching roughly $14 at press time. Well, $13.77 right now. Dash's community has been steadily promoting the digital currency's privacy features and has been gaining broader acceptance through the crypto community. Well, Dash actually has privacy as an option. The old private send feature and the instant send feature, which you can choose to use or not use, which is nice because you can, the cost of privacy isn't built in for people who don't want to pay the extra for that, So critics, however, feel that Dash isn't the best privacy-centric currency. Perceived shortcomings, such as the coin's Instamine and coin shuffling being done over masternodes held on ClearNet services like Amazon, lead Dash skeptics to question its true ability to hide user identities. Well, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? That was one thing I didn't quite get about masternodes, is that you can't host masternodes on things like Amazon Web Services, which that introduces a little bit of risk because that server isn't in control of the quote owner. Like I have an Amazon Web Services account, for example, that I host videos on, but I don't control that server. I rent it, if you like, off Amazon, and then they effectively have control over the data. So the competition stiffens with Monero's increased popularity. With Monero being added to DNMs or darknet markets like Alphabay, it may stiffen the competition for Dash and Bitcoin. Last year, even, rumors of darknet markets adding Dash circulated cryptocurrency channels. Most notably, it was believed that the Nucleus marketplace would integrate the coin. However, there has been no confirmation of any such integration, and Dash seems to have shifted its focus towards investors and mainstream privacy. Well, in fact, most recently, when I saw Evan Duffield speak, I think it was at the D10E conference, he was talking about Dash working towards becoming a decentralized bank, which is that's cool. You can understand that, as an overall mission and intention. So adding an anonymous cryptocurrency to the darknet market networks may prove to be valuable in time, since these black markets produce significant economic volume. Monero is definitely getting some attention from the announcement, and it remains to be seen how it will last. The cryptocurrency community is very passionate towards privacy and anonymity, so projects like Monero and Zcash and Dash have been on everyone's radar for quite some time. Meanwhile, players in the Bitcoin industry have been working on increased privacy. Mycelium, for example, recently announced the implementation of Coin Shuffle. Furthermore, discussions of Schnorr signatures, that's SCHNORR, Schnorr, I guess that is, Schnorr signatures, Schnorr signatures and confidential transactions being added to the Bitcoin protocol have been popping up throughout the community. What do you think about the darknet markets like Oasis and Alphabay adding Monero support? Let us know in the comments below. What do I think? Well, I think Monero, like any other cryptocurrency, can be considered a decentralized autonomous company, and it is providing a particular product, and it has a particularly unique selling point, which is privacy. And the free market can choose whether it wants to use that feature, and that if that unique selling point appeals to them for their use case, then they are free to use it. Now that is completely objective, and it says nothing about the legality of the services or the products being offered. That is a completely separate issue. The key question is, who has the authority, or who should have the authority, to determine what is legal and illegal, or what people should be allowed to buy and what people shouldn't be allowed to buy? That's the real question. And at the moment, everyone seems to think that is a government that is elected by the people, but that is obviously up for debate. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Cryptoverse with me, Chris Coney. I'd like to thank you very much for listening today. Please go to the podcast page on cryptoversity.com, get yourself subscribed on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, or Steam it. And please support the Cryptoverse by donating some Bitcoin to the address on that page, or click through to Steam it and vote for this episode on the Steam network. If you want to actually take a formal course in Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, or blockchains, just go to the main site, cryptoversity.com, which is the online school where you set the price. That's all for today, guys. It's me, Chris Coney. Until the next episode, saying bye for now.